What's up, everybody? Welcome to In Love with Horror. I'm AJ.
And I'm Christy.
And y'all, this is our non-spoiler review for The Strangers Chapter 1. So we checked out the film last night. Maybe you saw our out-of-theater reaction where we walked out of that auditorium and immediately filmed the reaction. What do we put that on? Is it just TikTok or
No,
Instagram
I'll put
as
it
well?
on Instagram.
Yeah, so you can check out our direct out-of-theater reaction for fresh thoughts on our TikTok and Instagram. But this here is just a slightly more deeper dive, keeping it non-spoiler for the review. So, The Strangers Chapter 1, right? This is a film that was directed by Rennie Harlan. We even remember him most for Deep Blue Sea. Maybe y'all do too. That's a film we both love.
Yeah.
That's a classic. And it stars Madeline Petch and Ryan, is it Bound?
I believe so.
Yeah, Ryan Bound, who are the leads who are playing the boyfriend, girlfriend, mimicking the original Strangers, where it was a husband and wife. For those of you who don't know, right, this film's called Chapter 1. This film is one of a trilogy that they plan to release all films this year, and then at some point they plan to do a 4-hour cut of all 3 movies together afterwards. So this is the first part of the story, if you will. And just off the top, I got to say that for this to be the first chapter of this trilogy, any type of excitement I had has been destroyed.
Yeah.
Because I thought this movie, it just was bad. I gotta keep real. I thought it was a bad movie. For me personally, there was really no redeeming qualities, and we'll dive into it more. But that's my initial thoughts. What were your kind of surface level thoughts before we kind of get into
surface
it?
level thoughts? I mean, it wasn't anything special about this movie.
Yeah.
It's almost like an unnecessary movie. I'm just trying to. That's what I was saying. I'm trying to understand what the point of this was.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we see what the point is in chapters 2 and 3. But it wasn't good. It wasn't great at all.
Right. What I'll do then, because I know you mentioned there was a couple things you liked about this film.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start with that because I don't have really anything good to say. So I'll let you start that off, and then we'll just go down.
Okay, so we're starting with
go down the hill.
likes. I did like the overall, look and feel of the movie. Like the atmosphere, right? Being out here in the woods, the way that the fog settled in between the trees. It was very aesthetic and kind of fit the feel of what you expect from The Strangers. Even the coloring, the tone and stuff like that. And like I said, randomly, I was I really like the music choices in the movie.
Sure, yeah. The music wasn't bad.
The music was pretty good.
Anyway.
I did like the Strangers themselves look exactly like The Mask and things like that, looked exactly like the original movie.
And I don't think I mentioned that at the top of the video that this film, at least Chapter 1, is pretty much a straight remake.
Which is interesting
original.
because I thought it was going to be like a prequel or something. Or at least somewhere on this timeline of The Strangers, but it's not really. It's kind of like a retelling of it, really.
You said, you pointed out that the masks were the exact same masks from...
Because they made it
Strangers.
seem like these weren't going to be the same story. When they first started talking about this movie, I didn't realize it was going to be the exact same thing. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Well, at least for Chapter 1, it is. Like I said, it's a trilogy, so...
Also, these are not the same people. You know what I'm saying? That to me means it would be a remake, right? These aren't the same characters.
Oh, I see what you're trying to say.
So these
because
are
they're not using the
complete-
same names and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So to me, this is kind of like the Strangers are the same. These are a different couple.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? It doesn't.
Yeah, it's
what's the same as the Strangers, not the people and the situation.
So it's not a direct remake for remake, but it's basically.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
remake.
Because they're remaking you just said that they've done the same movie, right? We see a lot of stuff that's very similar, right? I don't want to give too much away, but some of the scenes are the same as what you've seen in the other movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, baby. That's why
Right.
it's basically a remake.
So it's not then. I mean, it has some elements of a remake, but not really.
Well, but yeah. So what they did was they're doing a remake of it, but trying to inject some newer ideas that aren't fully realized.
Well, that's why I said it's more of a retelling versus a remake.
Yeah,
because it's not the same story, but they're just using some of the very same scenes and scenario or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, but yeah, it's very similar to the original. Well, at least say that much.
yeah, I liked the way that I know you said you didn't really like this, but I did like the guy in the burlap mask. Like, I feel like he kind of carried some air of, I want to, like what you expect from someone who's stalking someone. Yeah.
Okay. Dislikes?
I didn't like the chemistry between the couple. I felt like they didn't really have any chemistry. They even had like a scene where they're like kissing each other, and I felt like they looked like they was acting. They didn't seem like they really had any chemistry on screen together.
Yeah.
Also, I think there wasn't enough terror in this one.
Yep.
I feel like I kind of still remember some of that feeling from the actual strangers, like that feeling of being very scared, and you don't get that feeling in this movie. Like, I know there was a couple times where I wasn't immersed into this story at all. Like, I felt like I was really on the outside of it. I felt like I was watching a movie type of thing, and I feel like you don't want that in this type of story. Like, the whole point is for you to feel like this could happen to you, and I didn't feel like that with this movie at all. Like, it's a whole other movie, and I hate to compare it, but I mean, it's supposed to be.
But it's basing it off of that.
Based off so you can't help but compare the two of them.
No, I mean, if you're using the same exact mask and the story beats are almost the exact, not exact, but the story beats are similar.
Yeah,
like you have to make that comparison because that's what it's coming from. It's coming from this other, what I'm saying, this other film.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so I just feel like they didn't really get the essence of what The Strangers is.
Right. Yeah.
And like there was a lot of cliche things in there. Obviously, some really dumb decisions, which I know AJ is gonna harp on, so I'm not gonna go into that. And then I didn't really like the main characters all that much. Like their portrayal of this couple, the dialogue. These conversations that they were having, I was like, who talks like that?
It's
like
weird.
It was very weird dialogue. But yeah, so I'll hand it off to AJ because I know he got more to say about it.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, this film is just this movie is really bad. We're discussing this, and this might be, I'm not for sure yet, but it could actually be my worst of the year because, I really didn't like Imaginary, but I didn't think there'd be a film that I'd like that I would dislike even more. This film, whether you want to call it a remake or retelling or whatever the case it may be, right? It is obviously has that direct inspiration of the original Strangers. That's why they chose to use the same mask and all that stuff so they can have that correlation. And like you said, they didn't really capture what made that original Strangers great. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like they're all that suspense, all that terror, that horror thriller aspect has been completely like zapped from this.
It didn't have any emotion. It felt like there wasn't any kind of care, I guess, in making this. Like we recently watched in a Violent Nature, and I felt like that felt more like a scary movie than this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I think what made this film even less scary is, to make a film scary, you got to at least care to some degree about the characters. You got to care. Which I'm assuming they're doing with this trilogy is they're trying to build the story. I feel like that also takes away from the horror because in the original, it's like, and they even try to hype it up in the beginning of this film. It's not a spoiler because it's literally at the very beginning where they talk about in text about all the violent crimes that are done in the U.S., right? To make it seem like it's this random thing that can occur.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same when it's not just when it's not really happening in a space that you would call home, which makes it even more scary in the original.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? But anyway, the characters you don't really care about them. They're not interesting. The performances were a little weird and awkward at times from both of the main characters. Like you said, the writing was just weird. Like the dialogue didn't feel natural and didn't feel genuine. I don't know if that was from the director not directing right or just the delivery not being right. I'm just going to run down this whole list. It's not like this is in any particular order of all my dislikes. I'm just running as it's coming to me. But I'm seeing here on IMDb that this film is rated R.
Oh, it is rated R.
That's what it says on
Because we
IMDb.
were like, there's no blood in this movie.
film feels like PG.
We definitely thought it was PG-13 at least.
This film, y'all, feels like there's no nudity, there's no blood, there's no gore. And even the little amount of blood that's in it is very tiny.
Yeah.
And there really isn't any gore. There's maybe one scene, but you don't really see anything.
What's the gore?
Well, I can't mention it here,
I
but
know
it
that.
involved like a certain accident. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta tell me about that because I'm like, I don't remember anything.
Yeah, no,
being
it was an
gore.
accident. It's an accident
Oh,
that
that.
involved. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm saying it's very
right.
minimal.
Okay, yeah.
Like you didn't really get to see a whole lot.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Because and even in their opening scene, every horror movie has an opening scene. They like cut away from
They cut away.
the savageness. So to me,
I did not know it was rated R.
now that's what IMDb says. Obviously, things can change, but at least IMDb is saying that it's rated R. And if it is, I don't even understand what is causing this to be
No.
R. Yeah, that I'm surprised it says it's rated R because even just the basic horror elements of like gore and slasher type stuff,
Slash,
it's just
right?
not there at all.
It doesn't feel like a slasher.
Yeah, and this just didn't feel like a horror movie, and it's really just boring. Like, I mentioned that I didn't think I dislike a movie more, and you know me, like even if I have to use the bathroom really bad, like if a movie's really good, I'll just hold it the best I can.
Yeah.
And this movie had to use the bathroom, and I'm just like, hey, like
Just tell me what I missed.
this movie just. I told her I was like, man, I don't even care. Like I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, like, because it was just I just didn't care. The pacing is just not good. The choices were some of the dumbest choices I've ever seen.
The dumbest.
And
I was like, why?
and I'm sure y'all have seen the trailer, and I won't get into the details of it, but I'll put it like this: same thing I said in my out of theater reaction. I've never seen a movie where the good guys have a weapon, and the bad guys don't, and they still take the L somehow. Like,
Yeah.
how is that even possible?
He shouldn't even have had that.
He shouldn't even had a weapon
Yeah.
in there because it just made the characters look even dumber.
Yeah, it did.
And they're speaking of like the horror elements. Of course they do the jump scare thing like movies like this style typically do.
Yep.
And none of them felt good. It was just insanely loud.
Yeah.
And then it was predictable like jump scare moments. There was no real like surprises. And I feel like to make a retell and a remake of The Strangers, that one had a lot of, because there's no movie really like it. So there was a lot of surprises in like, oh shit, this dude was standing in the back corner of the house and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So when you're going to this, you're kind of expecting that. I feel like you got to take it up a notch in terms of like your different like setups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also for this to be based in realism, there's a lot of like moments that just like these people was like basically supernatural ghosts in a way,
Yeah.
but how they were able to move around this house
Yeah.
and like nobody know. I was just like, okay, this
Because
this
I
junk
feel
is
like
crazy.
I can't remember exactly, but I feel like there was not as much noise making in the first movie, in the original Strangers. But there's no way you can't tell me that you did
And
not
this
know
whole
nobody was in this
like,
house.
I really I don't even understand that.
I don't know. Anyways,
But
I was telling AJ, I said I need to do some research on like the target. Like, is there a reason why all the horror movies we're getting in the movie
these
theater
YA type
is like focused to this like demographic of YA? Because
teen.
it's like I felt like I was watching something off the CW or whatever.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it felt like.
This could have been a movie that released on TV like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Because they barely show anything and it feels like it's got those elements of like the TV.
Tarot was better than this. Like you said, Imaginary was better than this. Like,
you know what? Honestly, yeah, I
those
think
movies
so.
felt more like horror movies
Yeah.
than this one did.
And they at least had interesting aspects to
They
them.
did.
Because we didn't do a video
On
review,
Tarot,
but we
yeah.
talked about it in one of our lives.
We did.
And I said like, at least the creatures and stuff was interesting. Like, and they had some kills and stuff like that. This
Yeah.
movie is just like, it's just dry. Like there's nothing.
That's exactly what I said.
There's nothing gripping or engaging where you're just like, go, 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 go. You know what I'm saying? Or you're like getting into it.
You're never like that.
You're never into it.
That's what I said. I felt like I was just outside of the movie.
Yeah, like you think about the old strangers, like you get really into it. Or even if you think about movies that are in this like horror thriller genre.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna bring up Vacancy because it's fresh in my mind.
Okay, yeah.
Like
and
where
I feel
you're
like
like
it kind of fits
where you're like rooting for the characters. You're like, hey, go, all right, let's see open. You know what I'm saying?
in this movie, we're rooting for the strangers because they deserve to get gagged.
Because they just do dumb stuff.
I was just
don't
like, y'all deserve to die.
It takes you when characters do dumb stuff. It takes you out. You're just like, okay, like yeah, you deserve it because you're just too dumb. Like you deserve to die at this point, and I just don't even care.
And there is a
Connect to
mid-credit
me.
scene as well.
Yeah,
So if you're going to the theater this weekend, there is a mid-credit scene. But what was that? I was like,
oh yeah,
what
it was
is-
a goofy.
what's the point of this?
It's a goofy mid-credit scene. In fact, the dude, there was like two other people I think in the audience with us, and one of the dudes he bust out laughing
He just
hard.
laughs
Yeah.
super hard because like,
This is goofy.
what is this?
Yeah. It's so bad that I would make the recommendation that y'all save y'all's money and wait for streaming. Like,
Or
To be
go on
honest-
like a night when it's like $5 or something.
oh yeah, okay. If it's like a $2 Tuesday or $5 Tuesday, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Even then though, because especially because you pay for concessions and all that. Like,
Well,
you end up spending
yeah,
a
it
little bit
racks
more.
up. Yeah.
Like, it's just not. This isn't the movie for it. You'll go in there and you'll be like, because I was like, man, this movie was a waste of time for me.
Well, honestly, I can see why some people will like this movie because
so?
yes, like I've been learning because I'm in like I show up in a lot of different spaces. I kind
Yeah.
of been learning because we look at movies differently, obviously, than the average moviegoer, and I think the average moviegoer might like this movie.
You think so?
I do.
I don't think they will.
Okay, I guess we'll find out.
We
I guess.
definitely gonna find out. I really
We're
don't
gonna
think
see
they
what
will,
that
though.
Rotten Tomato score says.
So right now they don't have the audience score.
Right,
yet,
the audience
but
score, yeah.
critic score is up.
Well,
at
you know, I don't
19%.
even all the way trust Rotten Tomatoes all the time, but I definitely
I feel like
audience scores can be. I'm like, what, who did this?
if
What were
you
we were talking about recently?
which one?
We were talking about something the audience score in some movie recently. I was like, that don't sound right.
I can't remember.
No, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But I feel like you can look at the critic score, and depending on where it is and how you analyze it,
Yeah.
lets you know, like, okay, you might be able to trust this, right? Because if it's at 19%, that's like really bad.
Okay,
But
yes.
if something is close, if something is at least near 50% mark,
Yeah.
I feel like that lets you know that half the people liked it of critics and half didn't, right? So when you look at it in that way, you'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna be in the half that
Yeah.
did. You see what I'm saying? Whereas this one, it's not even a quarter of the people liked it.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So like, I think
Yeah.
if you just analyze and interpret what Rotten Tomatoes is saying a little bit differently, don't
Yeah.
look at it so much as like a
The score
percent,
itself.
but think about it as like the percent of critics.
yeah.
So you know what I'm saying?
with you.
So like, sometimes I feel like now there's moments
Yeah.
where the critics are way off.
Yeah.
But if you look at it and be like, okay, like only 40% liked it. Okay, I'm just in that almost 50 percentile.
Yeah.
Like if you like something. But yeah, we'll see how this plays out with the audience score and all that. But yeah, this movie is it's just rough.
Hopefully, like I said, maybe they'll redeem themselves in the
Chapter
in the,
two.
Chapter 2.
And then whenever they drop this 4-hour cut after all the movies released, maybe that because you could trim a lot of the dumb stuff out. Maybe that could be better. I don't know.
Because I'm assuming that this is kind of just like, okay, let's get this. Because I almost felt like that, right? Like, let's get this out of the way so we can get to the meat
This
of
new
the story.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. Well, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot because if you got a bad start,
That's true. Not
a lot of people might not show up for the
second
chapter
and
2. Because
third.
man,
Yeah.
chapter 1 was trash.
That's true,
Like, why would I
actually.
show up for
Yeah,
chapter
you're
2?
right. You're right.
Unless the trailer is like really good, but
Gotta be.
this movie is what I expected, y'all. It's probably what y'all expected as well. Stranger Chapter 1. Hey, wait for streaming. That's our recommendation. Did you want to give it a rating?
We both already rated it on our letterbox. If you're not following us,
Oh,
the
you did?
link
What-
is in the description.
What'd you put on there?
1.5, because you said you'd give it a half, right? Or
Probably.
one if you
Half to a
could,
one.
but a
Yeah.
1, and I said a 2.
Okay,
So
you
I
kinda
put it in
the middle.
between
Okay.
1.5.
All right. Yeah, so that's our rating for this on Letterboxd.
Out of 5.
1.5 out of 5. If you've seen The Stranger Chapter 1, let us know down in the comments. What did you think about this? Hey, look, yeah. Anyway, make sure you like this video. Make sure you drop those comments down. Make sure you share it as well. Check out some of the other stuff on our channel too, because we did a Crypticon recap. Go check that out. And then we got an In a Violent Nature review.
Yeah.
That's coming out pretty soon as well. So make sure you are subscribed for that.
Mention our membership and the Patreon.
Oh yeah,
We haven't been doing that lately.
Oh well, yeah. So right now we do have. If you want to support us, we do have YouTube membership and we do have Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the In Love with Horror channel to help us, add to the production value and things like that, and we will add more content to those membership channels. Right now, we got Drag Me to Hell as one of the membership offerings. If you're a fan of that movie, check out our discussion on that. We plan to add more content as well, but if you're interested in ways to support this channel, that is a great way to do it with YouTube membership and the Patreon. So check those out. And then let us know the stuff you want us to do specifically on there, because we're open to ideas and trying things out. So that's there if you'd like to support. And for those that do support us, we appreciate you and thank you. And thanks for watching this video. And y'all, we will see y'all on the next one. Peace.